The Garden of Eden. Once man walked with God, they could see him with their human eyes. But a serpent lurked in the garden for 7 years watching them, and one day while Eve was alone, he approached her, and we all know the story, but why wasn't Eve freaking out that an animal was talking to her? We read in the book of Jubilee in chapter 3 that all the animals and humans spoke with one tongue after the fall. God shut the mouths of the animals so they could no longer speak. So animal speaking was something she was used to after Adam and Eve had disobeyed God. They hid themselves when they heard God walking in the garden because they were scared of him. Fear entered into their hearts when they ate the fruit. God already knew what happened, and he said, "Where are you?" And Adam said, "I heard you walking in the garden, and I hid myself because I'm naked." And God said, "Who told you you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree that I commanded you not to eat?" God already knew what they had done, but him asking them that he was offering them a chance to repent. But instead of repenting, Adam blames Eve and chides God for putting her there. So then, God asked Eve, "What have you done?" She likewise does the same thing. She blames the serpent, saying that it deceived her. And God begins to pronounce judgment upon all three. First, he says to the serpent, "Cursed are you above all cattle on your belly. You shall go and eat dust all the days of your life." Then we hear the first prophecy spoken, "I will put enmity between your seed and the woman's seed, and you shall strike his heel, and he shall crush your head." Satan knew the seed would always come from the man. Satan knew that anything God said would happen. This prophecy was going to be of divine birth. So since the fall, man, Satan was trying to pollute human DNA so that this seed could not be born. It started with the sons of God coming down and marrying the daughters of men, lusting after them and having children with them. Those children grew up to be giants. The book of Enoch tells us that the giants were 3,000 ells tall. This would make them 4,500 feet tall. The book of Enoch is not in the canon. However, Enoch is in the canon, so we know that this book is divinely inspired. The same goes with the book of Jasher and the book of Jubilee, which is also mentioned in the canon. There is so much information in those books, answers to so many questions that we start to ask when we read the Bible, that we find the answers for in these books that were not included in the canon. The reason these books were not included in the canon is because they don't have the structure that the 66 books that are in the canon has, and that structure is truth that will lead someone to salvation. That's why they were not included in the canon. People want to say that they were not included in the canon because they were written later on, but this is not true. If they were written later on, then why were they written about in the Old Testament?